What is the science behind consciousness? It's how consciousness brings whole world into existential reality. Welcome to another video. Today we are going to discuss briefly on this topic. Before jump into this topic, we should know the general concept of consciousness that Buddhism explained. Consciousness in Buddhism is understood as a process rather than a static entity. It refers to the awareness or the act of being conscious of an object. In Buddhism, consciousness is a fundamental concept and is one of the 5 aggregates that constitute sentient existence. These 5 aggregates are form, sensation, perception, mental formations, consciousness. It arises in dependence on sense organs and sense objects, and is thus always linked to sensory experience. There are 6 types of consciousness corresponding to the 6 sense bases: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Visual consciousness, awareness of visual forms. Auditory consciousness, awareness of sounds. Olfactory consciousness, awareness of smells. Gustatory consciousness, awareness of tastes. Tactile consciousness, awareness of touch and physical sensations. Mental consciousness, awareness of mental objects and thoughts. In more advanced Buddhist teachings, especially in Mahayana and Vajrayana traditions, consciousness is further elaborated with concepts such as the 8 consciousnesses in Yogacarya or mind-only school, which include the 5 sensory consciousnesses, the defiled mental consciousness, and the storehouse consciousness. Buddhism also emphasizes that consciousness is impermanent and non-self. Anatta, it arises and passes away momentarily and is conditioned by other factors. Thus, it lacks an enduring, independent essence. The ultimate goal in Buddhism is to understand the nature of consciousness and all phenomena, leading to the realization of emptiness, sunyata, and the attainment of enlightenment, nirvana, where the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, samskara, is transcended. Let's dive into our first topic. Sometimes we too much wonder on searching our existence of this life, reality of nature, suffering. During solving these queries, we must have strike at least once with consciousness, because consciousness is the base of this whole queries. Our enthusiasm on learning consciousness is inevitable need for beings. Let's discuss how consciousness basically forms. In Buddhism, the formation of consciousness is intricately explained through the doctrine of dependent origination, pratitya samutpada, which describes the interconnectedness and conditionality of all phenomena. Consciousness is not seen as a standalone entity, but rather as a process that arises in dependence on other factors. Here's a detailed explanation of this process: the 12 links of dependent origination. The doctrine of dependent origination is often illustrated using the 12 links, which describe a cycle that leads to the arising of suffering and rebirth, and also describes the scientific way of formation of consciousness. Consciousness is one of these links, and its formation can be understood in the context of this cycle. Ignorance. Ignorance of the true nature of reality, particularly the 4 noble truths and the concepts of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. Volitional formations. Conditioned by ignorance, mental formations or karmic activities arise, which shape future experiences. Consciousness. Volitional formations give rise to consciousness. This link refers to the arising of awareness or consciousness at the moment of conception, influenced by past karmic actions. Consciousness here is specifically the rebirth linking consciousness that arises at the beginning of a new existence. Name and form. Consciousness conditions name and form, which represent the mental, nama, and physical, rupa, aspects of a being. This includes the 5 aggregates: form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. 6 sense bases. Name and form conditions the development of the 6 sense bases: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Contact. The interaction between the 6 sense bases and their corresponding objects, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touch, and mental objects leads to contact. Feeling. Contact gives rise to feelings, which can be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Craving. Feelings lead to craving, a strong desire for pleasant experiences and aversion to unpleasant ones. Clinging. Craving leads to clinging, the attachment to sensory pleasures, views, and existence itself. Becoming. Clinging conditions becoming, the process of existence, and the creation of future karmic actions that shape future births. Birth. Becoming leads to birth, the arising of a new existence. Aging and death. Birth inevitably leads to aging and death, completing the cycle of samskara, continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Detailed process of consciousness formation. Interaction of conditions. Consciousness arises dependent on conditions, specifically the interaction between sense organs, indriya, sense objects, and sensory contact, phassa. For example, visual consciousness arises when the eye sense organ comes into contact with a visible object. Momentary nature. In Buddhism, consciousness is seen as momentary, arising, and passing away in rapid succession. Each moment of consciousness is conditioned by preceding moments and gives rise to subsequent moments, creating a continuous flow. 6 types of consciousness. Consciousness is categorized into 6 types based on the sense bases: visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, tactile, and mental consciousness. Each type arises dependent on the appropriate sense organ and object. Role of mental factors. Consciousness is always accompanied by various mental factors, such as feeling, perception, intention, and attention. These mental factors influence the nature and quality of each moment of consciousness. Second topic is how consciousness brings whole world into existential reality. In Buddhism, consciousness plays a pivotal role in shaping and forming our perception of reality. This process is understood through several key concepts and teachings. Here is some key concepts that can explain how consciousness plays a role in bringing world into existential reality. As we already knew, consciousness arises dependent on mental formations and conditions, the arising of name and form. This interdependent relationship shapes our perception and experience of reality. The concept of the 5 aggregates helps explain how consciousness contributes to our construction of reality. Form rupa, the physical aspect, including the body and external objects. Sensation, bedana, the feelings or sensations we experience, which can be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Perception, sanna, the process of recognizing and labeling sensory input. Mental formations, samskara, the various mental activities and volitions. Consciousness, vijñāna, the awareness of these aggregates and their interactions. When consciousness interacts with the other 4 aggregates, form, sensation, perception, and mental formations, create a coherent experience of reality. For instance, when you see a tree, your consciousness recognizes the visual form, rupa, of tree, then experience sensations. Bedana identifies and labels it as a tree. Sanna and has associated thoughts or reactions, samskara. If we put an example, we could understand much better. Imagine you are experiencing anger due to a perceived insult. According to Buddhism, this experience can be broken down as follows. Sensory input, you hear someone's words. Sensation, you feel a negative sensation. Perception, you recognize the words as an insult. Mental formation, anger arises as a reaction. Consciousness, you become aware of the anger and the whole experience. But we become ignorant of true nature, emptiness, during this whole process and begin to believe as a real existence of things that we perceive through entire process. Here is another example that can simplify even much more better. When we look at a pen, in a contact with an object in suitable condition, eye consciousness arise. This arise consciousness recognize pen as a single entity until we know the nature of its reality is emptiness. When we ignorant on non-self nature of pen, that ignorant thoughts acts as a karmic seed turn pen into existential reality. After recognition of pen, feelings of good, bad or neutral arises. When we attached on good, bad or neutral feelings, we start craving. If we experience feelings of good, bad or neutral, we starts to cling our thoughts on adoption, abandon or neutral thoughts. Then, after our level of clinging form, complete cycle to born complete thoughts. Born and death of one complete thoughts happen in a presence of suitable cause and condition. Here we should understand all the feelings and thoughts that arising also consciousness itself. This is very subtle process, happens so quickly within us that we are not aware of it until we go through serious practices. Here we can understood how ignorance provoke consciousness, assuming world come to existence. In Buddhism, consciousness is not just a passive observer, but an active participant in constructing reality. By understanding and observing how consciousness interacts with other aspects of experience, practitioners can gain insights into the nature of reality and reduce suffering. The ultimate aim in Buddhism is to break free from the cycle of dependent origination, which is achieved through wisdom, prajna, and insight into the true nature of reality. By understanding the impermanent, unsatisfactory, and non-self nature of all phenomena, one can eradicate ignorance and thus stop the arising of volitional formations, leading to the cessation of consciousness and the entire cycle of suffering. I hope this video will definitely helpful to bring a bit of understanding and insights on consciousness and how consciousness plays pivotal role on shaping world into reality. Try to put effort on learning and searching existence of our reality, rather spending fruitless task. What if we die without knowing who we really are? Thanks for watching this video till the end. Keep supporting. I'll be continuing my small effort on search of better content. If you have queries, then don't forget to leave a comment. Stay tuned till next video. Have a great day.